preaching hate when he says, I'm not going to let the wolf eat me anymore. If the wolf comes in here, next time he comes in here, I'll do whatever I have to do to keep him off my back. Is the sheep violent or is the wolf violent? He wasn't teaching hate, he was teaching common sense. You know, somebody's knocking you over the head, stop them. Do whatever you have to do to stop them. You know, the ones that were knocking him over the head were afraid of the fact that he might swing back. So they said, no, he's teaching hate, it's violent.
It wasn't much that you can come back. Let's go ahead and get into this thing. Dave Anderson, I believe he's a mogul. He's a guy who definitely does business well. They call him the business bully. So let's go ahead and take a listen as to what he has to say in regards to this whole situation when it comes to the Black community and building with the community, right? Let's get into it, y'all. We're going to start from this timestamp right here.
Listen, man, here's the bottom line. When it comes to somebody like Charlie Kirk, everybody is the bad guy in somebody's story. And sometimes people don't understand in this charged environment, if you say something somebody don't like, they're going to try and pop you. That man didn't deserve to lose his life. And what people don't understand, when white people catch a cold, black people get full-blown AIDS. And so we got to be real careful as to how we talk about and acknowledge what happened, because there are people like celebrating and then next thing you know, they're losing their job. Then they crying on the same TikTok talking about, I can't believe I got fired because I made fun of Charlie Kirk. You made fun of a man who got shot down in front of his wife and children.
Right.
Like, so at some point you got to understand when somebody you know, and I know I've been black a long time, don't plan on switching up.
You said you've been black a long time.
I've been black a long time, 48 years of blackness.
Come on
my
now.
life.
We'll keep it up. I know plenty of people who got shot and gunned down, and I would feel some type of way, you know, if people was cheering and applauding for that. You know, we've all lost someone, and so, you know, God bless him. I didn't agree with a lot of his rhetoric, but I will defend his right to say it because, again, you start messing with white people's rights, our rights ain't got a chance.
And Dave Anderson, y'all, I told you he was opinionated. Now take us back home. What was home life like for you? How did you get so articulate, so smart, so successful?
My dad was a cop. My mom was a teacher. My grandmother was a teacher. I had an uncle who was a teacher. I spent a lot of time in books. And then, shoot, man, I grew up with a speech impediment for a real long time, and then I had to go through speech therapy, so that meant I spent a lot of time reading. Yeah, I speak publicly. I had a speech impediment, and I have dyslexia and dyscalculia.
Wow.
Yeah.
I would have never known any of that.
A lot of hurdles.
You're not supposed to. I'm not walking around here like a victim.
Right. I love that.
You know, so it comes down to just spending time researching, and in my house, the way I grew up, even with my grandparents, my aunts, my uncles, everybody, you could have an opinion, but you better be ready to back it up. You couldn't just say whatever you wanted to say without having some evidence, some knowledge of what was happening. And so, you know, the other part of that is I was raised to play for my last name. When you look at anybody's jersey who's a professional athlete, they have their last name on their back. And your name was supposed to mean something. You know, so I wasn't going to go out here and dishonor my grandfather's name, my father's name, my mother's name by just, you know, not living up to my full potential. So.
And that's what's missing in the community, period. It's what is missing is people who have honor, respect, and want to keep the integrity of their last name, understanding that their father, their forefathers, you know what I mean, would bring shame to their name. That's the problem. And so you see a man here who says he's playing for his last name. Absolutely. You know what I mean? Ones who show more honor, more respect, honestly, they don't want to, like I said, tarnish the reputation. You're going to see them move different. Let's continue.
Let's talk about the Black Agenda.
The real Black Agenda.
The book. He has a book out called The Black Agenda.
The real Black Agenda.
The real Black Agenda. So what internal or external movement led you to realize that a different conversation was needed?
Because you got a bunch of Yowza Boss, Shade Tree house coons either on television, in the pulpit, or being elected, sitting up here promising you things and never delivering on them. Like for the past 60 years, black people have not been flourishing the way we should, even though we love hollering out hashtag black excellence. We love talking about our accomplishments. Somebody graduates, that's great, but we're number one in student loan debt, right? Our wealth has dropped 60% over the past 10, 15 years. And so at some point, we got to realize that everybody is eating off us. We love talking about for the culture and how the culture is this, the culture is that, but white people own the culture. It's our culture, but they're monetizing it. And so at some point, you got to realize everywhere else you go, like when I was in radio, I lived in 34 cities in 19 states, and I saw the same thing everywhere. There was a Chinatown, there was a Little Italy, there was a Koreatown, but I didn't see Brothertown or Black Girl Magicville. But I did see the hood everywhere I went.
Right.
That's by design. And so in order to fix that, we got to start shutting down our wagons, stop trying to take everybody's cause, stop fighting for illegal immigrants, fighting for this cause, fighting for that cause, while everybody else walks on our back and get benefits we ain't got yet.
Talk about it. Now, with the black agenda, did you
The real black agenda.
The real black agenda. Did you struggle with finding a balance between, you know, being brutally honest and not being offensive in your book?
If black people can't take brutal honesty at this point, then I feel sorry for you. You're not my audience. Like at some point we got to stop coddling people. Like we the only group of people that sits up here and tries to make all these arrangements for our trash.
So
Never should have ate it.
And that's what I see. Honestly, tell you the truth. When I take a look at some of these individuals, especially the ones who are over there with born again Israelites, listen, I see a bunch of people who want to be coddled. I see a bunch of people who want to avoid the truth. I see a bunch of people who want to have a softer blow, right, for their ignorance or for the things that they do wrong or for the things that they should enlighten themselves more with. I see a lot of excuses and a lot of things as to where we're trying to find ways to feel good about things that we should feel terrible about, right? We shouldn't be so caught up on somebody's speech to the point is where when they say the word ass, that you decide you want to click off and unsubscribe. We should be able to be tough enough to hear the real raw truth and say, you know what, we got to work on ourselves. When I'm talking about individuals who are ex-straightway members, right, I'm not talking about all ex-straightway members because not all of them are performing on the same level. A lot of them are performing and actually doing great work to expose the truth when it comes to religious cults, right? But we got other individuals out here who are being very, very, I would say, critical in regards to that exposure. Those are the individuals who need to toughen up. Those are the individuals who need to understand the tough conversations that need to be had, right? These are the individuals that's being talked about. Same thing with the Black or melanated community. Y'all all know what's up. Y'all know that we are in the state that we're in because we're too busy trying to coddle feelings and emotions. And you just want to continue on with coddling rather than repairing and remedy the true issue, the true problem. You're too busy trying to find ways to appease yourself, to please your flesh, and you're not trying to find ways to actually build, restore, and try to change anything that has been destroyed. It's the biggest mistake that we could ever make as a community of people, is to try to appease each other emotionally. Try not to bring about an offense because we're the type of people that's so offended. We'll gain any type of offense. We're looking for any reason to be offended. You understand what I'm saying? Any reason that we can be offended, looking for a reason to be offended. We don't got the space or the room. What are we going to use? Oh, the international slave trade, the slaves. Our ancestors were slaves. They were beaten. They were whipped. They were chained. Listen, we're using this same excuse over and over and over again without actually affecting and enacting change. Bringing back the shame in our communities, right? To be able to make ourselves better, to propel ourselves forward. So when individuals like Nick Fuentes comes on the live, right? And he starts to dog y'all out in a Black community, in a melanated community, telling you how piss poor you are, telling you how bad you are, how people want to cross the street when they see you walking down a block. Listen, my thing is this, right? He's not wrong. Even a lot of you Black individuals agree with his position, but we're still too busy trying to coddle. We're still too busy trying to find ways to make an excuse for the poor behavior instead of bringing back the shame that they can bring to their last name. So he has a valid point. He has a valid point in individuals just trying to coddle, just trying to find an excuse to feel good or not to feel bad about something. I've noticed that individuals who are part of the born again Israelites maybe have been ex-straight way code members, right? But they're finding reasons to hate individuals for things that they're trying to move on from and heal from, and they've repented from and shown forth fruits for, right? And these individuals are also looking to have this crusade of hatred, but no real facts and truth. Steady wanting to stay stagnant in the position, but hear with itching ears what they want to hear. But they want it to be delivered in such a manner that makes them feel good. And they call that holy. They call that set apart. They call that a gift coming from the Most High, even though the word, the message is being presented has nothing to do with Yah. This is what I've noticed. I don't know if you all noticed this, but I've noticed this. I've noticed that some of these women that's not only in the Hebrew Israelite community, but other communities don't believe that Black men deserve anything when it comes to respect and honor. That we don't deserve it. And the only way we can actually receive it is if we achieve higher heights, if we're multimillionaires, if we're earning on the highest potentials, then guess what? Then we deserve it. Whereas where I look at other communities like the Hispanic community, and that Hispanic man goes out and picks fruit at a farm, and the only thing he makes is probably poverty level wages, and he still gets a hot meal at home, respected, his feet washed and rubbed. Listen, still respected. Earning bare minimum wages. Where Black men that seem to have to, for our women to impress them, we have to reach a high level of success. I'm not talking about success. I'm talking a high level of success. You're still gonna get disrespected if you're a six-figure earner. But if you have a high level of success and notoriety, guess what? You might just be able to keep them around, right? But it always turns public at some point. Where you see other cultures and other communities, they don't publicize all of their business. They don't dramatize all of their business and relationships out there. You look at the Hebrew Israelite community, you see all of these melanated people publicizing and dramatizing everything. And I'm not saying I'm exempt. I'm saying I like to shed light on the darkness. I don't believe that I want to just get out here and just do conflict, but I like to bring the truth if people have things misunderstood, especially if they call themselves a teacher and they are really teaching sound doctrine. That's the best way to correct it. I believe we cleared the smoke enough to where we can get focused on the real problems and issues in our community. And it starts with us. It starts with us being able to address the real problems, core issues in our family sex, bringing back the shame in our community, bringing back the shame in our households. It starts with the women. Then it's the men. The men tend to always understand at least a level of respect and honor, whereas to where the women, if left unchecked, they will not understand. If you do not give them guidance, if you do not give them order, if you do not critique them, give them some sort of something, advice to be able to get them on the right track, they will be lost. They need guidance. Women need guidance. It just is what it is. Some of them more than others. Some of them are very self-proficient. They're very self-starters. They'll get things done. They still even need guidance. I promise you. You understand what I'm saying? They still need guidance, even when they're great at it. I don't care, man. Even when they're great at it. Let's continue, though. Let's continue, y'all. We're going to go ahead and get back into this thing.
What?
Big as hell.
So what's
your times, y'all?
What's your thoughts about him? How do you feel about him?
The same way I feel about most of these mega preachers. What good are they? All they do is y'all's the boss. And again, what do you have to show? The Bible says you will know the tree by the fruit that it bears. What fruit have they bear? You know what I'm saying? Like, didn't Jamal Bryant say, I'm going to take the land because I want the brothers that smell like weed? Did he start the dispensary yet? Did we get the new birth dispensary?
No.
That hasn't happened. But you got time to be on CNN, and then you got to try and blackmail Target for $250 million. just so that you can wear your mama's brooch and, you know, talk about things that really don't affect us, because DEI only helps white women. It doesn't really help us. 4% of all DEI jobs go to black people, but nearly 60% of the DEI firings go to black people. But good job, Jamal. Keep collecting in buckets.
Keep good job, Jamal. So was there a particular event, like a personal situation that you went through that inspired you to write the Black Agenda?
The real black agenda.
The real Black Agenda.
It was the fact that I have a YouTube channel called I Never Knew TV, and we have different black voices throughout the diaspora. So here on the continent, in the Caribbean. And when I launched the Ask Dave Anderson series, I would pose these problems and things that I saw happening in the community, and everybody in the comment want to be a thumb thug talking about, well, what's the solution? I hear you talking about the problems, but what's the solution? They need a solution. So I spent 30,000 plus words giving y'all a solution. So now you ain't got no excuse. You don't want to listen to Killer Mike.
Hey, thumb thug is crazy. Being a thumb thug is crazy, y'all. But he hit the nail right on the head. I mean, what can you argue with about that? It's things that need to be solution based, of course. You need to provide the solution, right? Because my thing is that, listen, we can talk about the problems all day long, but the individuals who are perpetuating the problems need to think solution based, not the issue, not the people who are talking about the issues. The people who are talking about the problems with these religious cults, the people who are talking about the problems within the community, Hebrew Israelite community, the black, so-called black community, melanated community, these individuals, right? They don't need to provide the solution because they have the solution. You need to provide the solution. You know why? Because you're still perpetuating the same problem. You haven't gotten over the problem. You're still producing problems. That's what you're doing, producing problems. You're not producing anything that's profitable, that's equitable, that can be stood on solid. This is the reason why men like this, like Anderson, like Dave Anderson here has to talk about this. This is the reason why I gotta talk about it and address it, is because we have the solution. The solution is to address you, the problem, to address you. You being the problem. You understand what I'm saying? So that is the solution. Why do you keep asking for a solution when we have the solution? Our solution is to address the problem. A lot of you individuals who are so-called teachers, who are misleading individuals, right? So hung up on a jot and a tittle that you are using your jot and your tittle to control a narrative, to perform witchcraft, to do all these other things that does not get our people to the next level. Listen, you fall in that category of a problem. And instantly, the solution is to stop listening. But will these other individuals who want to pump you up and promote you and support you, will they ever stop listening? Absolutely not, because they also wish you to be a problem. You understand what I'm saying? They don't wish to be a solution. That's why shots are fired. But they wish to be the problem, to go in the comment section, They want to send out emails and all this other scripted stuff, right? They want to make false videos and do all this and that. Workers of mischief. Constantly want to ask the individuals who are providing the solution, well, what's the solution to the problem? Why are you always talking about the problem with no solution? We got the solution. We're doing it right now. You're the problem. We're addressing you. This is the solution. Now, you just continue to follow the movement. You'll see what solutions are enacted and put in place, whether it's truly being done and accomplished, right? Since you yourself can't accomplish anything, guess what? We got to get out here and do it ourselves. Only thing you can truly and effectively accomplish is to cause strife and contention, right? It's continuously address situations without any sort of aim for peace, without any sort of aim for restoration and growth, without any aim of unity. And for a lot of you individuals who are aimlessly talking about problems and situations, guess what? I don't have the time for you, because you're not the wave. You're not the move. You're actually truly the hindrance of the individuals who are looking to grow, who are looking to have the culture succeed and thrive and flourish, who are looking to bring a better name to the Hebrew Israelite culture, who are looking to bring a better image and better name to the melanated or black culture. You individuals who are steady complaining without any, aimlessly complaining, aimlessly, meaning you have no goals. You are the problem. Individuals who are goal-oriented, thinking forward, right? What is the end goal? We are the solution. Let's continue.
Mike, you don't want to listen to David Banner. You didn't want to listen to Dr. Claude Anderson. You didn't want to listen to Ice Cube. You didn't want to listen to Farrakhan. So hopefully, me putting this out will allow somebody to start taking some action.
Do you feel like the black community is ready to read the truths in the real black agenda?
Whether they're ready or not, here it is.
Come on.
Was there any part of the book that you hesitated to write because you didn't want to be offensive?
It's not even about being offensive. I hesitated to talk about the fact that we're in bed with the Democratic Party and we ain't got nothing for it. The only time you ever see these folks is when they come to New Birth because it's their birthday, or they want to stand around and dance with pudgy ass Worrell and Martin and do some horrible ass dance. You never see them do anything effectively in the black community. The same people who you say are racist are not the only racist. Joe Biden was mentored by Strom Thurmond, racist. He was mentored by Robert Byrd, and you eulogized him. Robert Byrd was a Klansman. But he reformed, because that type of deep-seated racism over 100 some odd years just magically goes away. He said that he didn't want people growing up in a racial jungle. And so when you tell black people anything bad about Democrats, they're like, oh, Lord, no, you best not say nothing about Bill Clinton. You best not say nothing about Master Biden. And Lord, don't come for Barack. Right. And it's just like, okay. When Trayvon Martin died, what did Barack do? He could have been my son. And then he walked his ass right back in the White House.
So I guess the question that I have for you is, because I listen, I'm on the same page. How do we get the black community to wake up and kind of wean away from the Democrat community? I feel like it's coming in small numbers, but for the most part, and my own family members, my older family members, they really was like feeling some type of way when I told them that I didn't want to vote Democrat. Like, it's like they feel like our older black family.
Listen, y'all better be ready. The baby boomers, that generation that raised you on Democrat, that birthed you and bathed you and fed you on Democratic Party. Listen, y'all better be ready, because a lot of them will literally fist fight you because you said you're gonna vote for Donald Trump, or you're gonna vote for a Republican Party, even though the first Republican Party was an all-black party. They don't really even get that. They don't get that the history behind the Democrats, right, has always been to oppress and suppress the people. Not only to oppress and suppress, but also to neutralize, to sterilize. All these different things are people. It's just always been their real goal, underlying goal. But listen, I believe it was Ronald Reagan who said that he's going to have y'all N-words voting Democrat for decades to come, after he's done breaking the buck. That's exactly what he said. And look at it come to fruition. Would you call him a prophet because black people, so-called black people, saw benefits and decided they wanted to submit to daddy government because they can get food stamps and welfare and all this other stuff from daddy government? So guess what? We're going to hit that Democrat every time, right? We're going to hit that Democrat every time because we get all of the stuff that we need provided to us. We don't got to work, right? We can be lazy. We can sit here, but number one thing, you need to kick that man out the home, right? Kick him out the home or hide him in a closet. Don't let them come by and see this man at the crib, because guess what? You're going to lose all of that. Your welfare, your food stamp, all the other stuff right there, right? You're going to lose all of that because daddy government say he ain't allowed to be there. So the father is effectively removed from the home, allowing the children to do what? Run rampant. Because when disorder is in the home, guess what? And when there's no order in the home, children can sense it like that. It don't take long for them to sense disorder. And you see them start to act unruly because the order is not put in place. My thing is this, right? Is that the more we continue to ignore the truth, is the worse the society will get. There's only a select group of you guys who would truly be saved by the Most High Yah, because ultimately, the Father is the one who dictates and determines all of this. He is the way, right? He's the one who's going to determine it. But my thing is this: the ones who are listening, the ones who seek to make the change, you're not going to be a part of that, right? You're going to turn away from it. But let's continue, y'all. Let's continue. Man, he brought also a really great point.
Family members feel like just because we're black, we have to vote Democrat. Like we have to.
So the same baby boomers in the first half of Gen Xers that got us in this mess are now talking about they're upset. You gave us this world. You let them run wild. You let them run ragged, do whatever they want. You didn't ask for anything. We live in a country that is not a democracy. We live in a constitutional republic. The founding fathers never wanted any type of democracy, because for those of you who spent no time in third grade civics,
I'm gonna give you real, brother Angela. I was looking at what Vic said, and I'm like, let me see what he said. He said Farrakhan is suspect like down, and I think this is funny, right? Because Farrakhan, why is he still alive? Didn't he come up in the era where all of the strong melanated men who like Malcolm X and Huey P. Newton and Marcus Garvey, didn't he come up with a lot of these Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, all these individuals? Didn't he come up around in that era? So if he came up around in that era, why is he still alive? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Why is he still alive? Why Farrakhan out of all of these individuals? Why is Farrakhan one of the ones that's still living, man? It's just so interesting. And you can only speculate certain things, right? Until you start diving into it for real, right? Why is he still alive, man? Because if he was truly a motivational voice, man, they would have had to eliminate him too. Maybe he just didn't have the same impact as a lot of these other individuals, but it seems like he should have, right? It's just an honest question. I'm just curious about that. I'm not saying that he's a terrible person. I don't really listen to a lot of Farrakhan's work. Or anything like that, or follow it, you know what I mean? But a lot of you who came up in that era know who Farrakhan is. You guys know what it was about. It was a revolutionary type of era, and it was a beautiful time for the community, right? Because we had more unity during that time. But why is he still living? You know what I mean? Because I'm just curious about that. Let's continue, y'all.
Democracy means the majority rules. The founding fathers didn't want that. They wanted to keep their landmass slave owning game going. And so if you understand that this is not about a democracy, you got more control over who's WWE champion than you do who's president. So at some point, you got to understand all the boomers need to go. Go sit down, hang it up. You ruined us. Now we got to fix this mess. Here's the thing. Gay people. I didn't say nothing yet. Gay people have representatives on both sides of the aisle. If you think I'm lying, explain Bruce. I'm sorry, Caitlyn Jenner. Hispanics have people on both sides of the aisle. Who's the Chinese American leader? You don't know who they are. You want to know why? They too busy running Chinatown, and it doesn't matter how many conglomerates I put up. It doesn't matter how many businesses I acquire. I can't buy an inch of land in Chinatown, but yet and still you got Chinese people giving you chicken wings covered in MSG. You got Korean people doing your nails, putting gel in it. You realize gel manicures just got banned in the UK? You got Indians and Ethiopian people giving you Dunkin' Donuts. They tell you there's no money in the hood, but McDonald's don't build nothing that is not a profit center. So why there's so many McDonald's in the hood? They convince you that the hood was the problem, but the problem is the hood has not woken up to what's really happening. And so I don't really give a rat's ass. If you go independent and you say, give me something for my vote. Are you dating? Are you messing with somebody right now? Have you seen somebody recently?
Who, me?
You. I'm talking to you.
You mean like am I married?
No, I know you're not married, but I mean, are you seeing somebody? Have you seen somebody before?
I'm not married.
Have you been on a date before?
Yes.
Okay. Did you just say, you know what, skip the date, we just gonna go home? No, you want to make sure that this person is invested in you, cares about you, you want to know how they act. But you're treating your political future and your community's future like a one-night stand and you too horny to do anything about it. And what do? They come along and they fuck you. Excuse my language, but that's the only way I can say it.
You mean the Democratic Party? They come along.
The Democratic Party knows that y'all not going nowhere. That's why they were so big on these illegals, because they want to get a second voter base that's going to be loyal to them.
So how do you think the world would have turned out right now in present day where we are now, where everything that happened had Kamala Harris made it into office instead of Donald Trump.
I mean, they tried their best to install her. It would have still been a shit show. Period, point blank. Here's the thing. Forget how you feel about the former vice president. Forget whether or not she's black or Jamaican, even though I have never heard her finish the sentence, boom, bye, bye, in a bate boy, it. She don't know that. She graduated in 1986, but swore she listened to Tribe Called Quest and Snoop Dogg when she was in college. All of that aside, nobody voted for her in a primary. She went on The View, which is friendly to everything Democratic and everything female, and they gave her a low IQ question, which was, if you could do anything different than what Joe Biden has done so far, what would you change? I wouldn't change anything. Joe, he did it, Joe. What did she do? What did she do?
At 29 Sky Entertainment, they are introducing fresh talent and creativity to the world. They offer innovative services and you said he is cosplaying in kente cloth.
Yeah, cosplaying in kente cloth, but they all do. Nancy Pelosi cosplayed in kente cloth.
Now, for Mr. Martin, as somebody who, you keep it real, what would you like to see Mr. Martin do more of for the black community?
So he sat up there and he kept talking about, well, the Congressional Black Caucus, go to my iPad, and then what have we gotten? We gotten a YouTube channel because he can't keep a job in mainstream broadcasting, and then he bitches and moans all the time about how he's not getting enough money, but he got $300,000 from Kamala Harris's campaign and still couldn't help her deliver black community. What has he done significantly other than complain and bitch? And then when he says something about people who disagree with him, he calls them dumbasses.
Right.
And then when people who are masculine come and confront him, he hides behind black women and runs and calls for security. He won't have a conversation to anybody with any type of level of intelligence worth respecting, and yet and still, he's dancing for Hillary Clinton, he danced for Obama, he's dancing for Kamala, he's dancing for whoever he wants, and that's just the thing. He's an entertainer. He's not a politician, and he hasn't been a journalist for 15 years. What did Malcolm X say? Do not listen to entertainers, comedians, and trumpet players. What are we doing? Listening to entertainers, comedians, and trumpet players. D.L. Hughley got a GED, and this is who you listen to? D.L. Hughley is a multi-millionaire, but he's mad every single day. How many D.L. Hughley scholars? Anybody got the D.L. Hughley scholarship? Anybody got the D.L. Hughley real estate supplementary program? So why is he so mad? Why is he yelling and screaming all the time?
I feel like celebrities feel like that just because they have a name, they can go into like the podcast realm, and just because you have the following, you feel like you have the credentials and the background to go into that atmosphere. That's just my thoughts.
I mean, that's a feeling. That doesn't make it a fact. You are entitled to your own feelings, but it don't mean it's a fact. Like, my child plays Grand Theft Auto, but she's 10 years old with autism. I'm not going to give her the keys to my truck because that would be irresponsible and stupid. And they would probably jail me for that.
Come on now. Now, that's the same thing that I was saying earlier. It's like a lot of these individuals, D.L. Hughley, you tell jokes for a living, bro. Like, why are we taking a position of political, right? Or these other positions, right? Your job is to tell jokes. Keep telling jokes, right? Do your thing. Do what you're great at, right? And that's what you're great at. Now, am I saying that you can't give out wisdom, that you can't part ways with wisdom? Yeah, do it for the community of people that you're influencing, the comedians of the world, right? We got to understand, like, some of these people, like, of course, D.L. Hughley and Steve Harvey, we heard what Cat Williams had to say in regards to these individuals, right? Speaking on them and what their character is like. I'm not saying that I'm going to bash them. I don't know them personally. But my thing is that if you're stepping into a political arena, be sure that you understand politics and you've done politics and you've worked the political world a little bit before you start jumping out there. And not only that, before you really start to force yourself onto people to give them advice in spaces, right? You gotta know that where your world is, when you're offering scholarships, when you're offering these different things, how many individuals are actually taking advantage of what you have to offer? How many individuals really do hear about the D.L. Hughley foundations or scholarships or anything like that. How many people are winning a lot of that stuff? How many people are getting full rides to college because D.L. Hughley decided to fund them based on those things? I don't hear about those type of stories often. It's like a thing is to where um, we're talking big, but maybe hitting small, right? Sort of like Dr. Umar Johnson, right? Where he's saying he's going to build this school, in which, of course, there's been so many shortcomings that it make your head spin. So much mismanagement of funds that did not accomplish the mission, right? And so these are the things we got to start holding each other accountable for. When we're supposed to be moving on such a level, we got to hold each other accountable for not following through with a lot of this stuff, right? And wanting explanations as to why they thought it was okay to mismanage the funds that were given to them, like Dr. Umar Johnson, who mismanages the Pookie Pan African, right? The Pookie Pan African who cannot seem to get this school built, who can't seem to keep his word on things, who seems to be really fleecing the flock, really fleecing people all to get grifting the people and getting money and collecting money. Now, my thing is that is it the truth? Yes, it is the truth. Can he be able to talk about it, answer for it? Yeah. Do I have personal problems with Dr. Umar Johnson because he has been proven to do it? No, I don't have any personal problems with him. But I believe accountability shouldn't escape anyone, right? Not even myself, not even anyone else out there. We should all be held accountable for whatever takes place, the actions and what we're doing, bringing shame back into the culture and community, right? If you want to be sure that you keep a good name about yourself, you want to be sure you do right by people, right? You're going to do right by them. You're not going to just take their money and you're going to overpromise, like Dr. Umar Johnson, overpromise and underdeliver. Let's continue.
Sometimes a microphone in the wrong hands is a weapon. And like I said, you will know the tree from the fruit that it bears. Show me the fruit and then we can have a conversation.
Talk to us about the YN apocalypse.
So again, this is another thing that Gen X and the baby boomers did, which was not pay attention to the importance of rearing your child. When you're getting paid by daddy government because daddy government did the baby face on you, I'll pay your rent, I'll buy your clothes, I'll give you housing too, just don't have a man in the house. When daddy is out of the equation because you forced him out,
wow,
you get YNs. For every action, this is science, y'all learned this in 9th grade. In every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. So now you got these kids out here in Pooh Shiesty masks because you have not taught them that they can do something with their hands. You told them to go to college, and I'm sorry, everybody ain't a scholar. My grandfather put 7 kids through college with a 6th grade education just working with his hands. We get off of that because that's not sexy enough. Then you get this propaganda, this person's got to be a high-value man. He got to have 6, 7 figures for you to even look his way. He got to take you on a $300 meal date. The first date, don't know your middle name, your last name, your blood type, or your STD panel. But you want all these things for him. So at the end of the day, what's happening is these YNs are out here robbing you because you did not give them any skills to focus on. You did not give them anything to do. You did not give them any sense of self. You did not build up their self-esteem, and you did not hug.
And then I'm going to shoot that rabbit while it's running, y'all. There's a mindset to where not only are these women looking for guys who are just high achieving, high earning, right? You got some, of course, that will settle for guys, not even settle. That is totally fine and very content with a man who has a great vision, and also who may earn regular wages. But you got a vast majority of women, and it's mostly the melanated or Black community, who wants these high earners, who wants this lifestyle, who wants that lifestyle, and they'll do anything to be able to get to that, right? But one thing that they will not do is sacrifice in order to get to that level, to get to that place. They won't find ways to be able to sacrifice their time to help a man build to that level, or help a man build that platform and foundation. And like I always say, the women who sacrifice to help a man build to get to that level, these women are irreplaceable. The ones who want to just show up, right? Who just want to move in on the blessing. Listen, those individuals, those women, they're expendable, meaning you can get rid of them at any point because they didn't help you do anything. There was no tears coming from the building process there. There was no story behind it. Everything is better with a story. I promise you. You eat a plate of food, right? You sit down at a restaurant, you eat a plate of food. You're looking for the experience, right? But imagine if you learned the chef. You understood the chef. You understood his backstory, understood that he stood in the kitchen with his grandmother for hours learning how to make that particular dish that you're now eating and enjoying. It'll probably make you cry, understanding the beauty of the story behind it. It's a totally different plate of food at that point. This is the same situation when a woman decides to help a man build a foundation. She's a foundational piece. Now, a man has established a reputation with this woman, and she's not an expendable person, right? An expendable woman because she sacrificed to build. A lot of our women, melanated community, don't seem to really get or comprehend this concept. They believe that 50-50 is a curse and that you should never even allude to 50-50. But since 1980, right, we got some comments in the chat, right? I'm gonna go over real quick. Since 1980, the housing rates have more than tripled, quadrupled. Back then, you can get a house for $40,000 in 1980. Okay, so I can't listen to your grandmother who understood what was going on back then, and it was $40,000 for a house on average, right, in the community. To where now we're up to $400,000 or $351,000 for a home, $451,000 for a home, for the same material. For the same building material. In fact, it's even less. It's just plywood and drywall, sheetrock, right? Back then, they actually had established homes that was made of brick that had great foundation, whatever it may be. It was long lasting. Nowadays, we're making particle board and plywood and sheetrock. This is the house. This is what it is. This is what's being built. And it's $450,000 now, where back then it was $40,000. It's totally changed. You need more than just two incomes in the household to afford today's economy, okay? So a woman who feels like that she can just sit back and not do nothing to help build, earn, or do anything to accomplish anything, any goals. In this society today, be prepared to be alone. Be prepared forever. Honestly, tell you the truth. Or be prepared to share a man who can provide that lifestyle, who's on that level. But I guarantee you that you're expendable because the woman who helped him get there, the wife that he got, guess what? She ain't going nowhere. She's firm. She's solid on that rock because guess what? She helped him build in the beginning. So now he can provide for your ass. Now he can definitely do that. He's worthy now because he had that solid rock with him who helped him get to where he's at now. You understand what I'm saying? You need at least 3 to 4 incomes in a household in order to sustain it in a way to where you're comfortable, where you can be able to take time out for your family, where you can go do things that you're passionate about, where you can travel more and experience an actual life. If it's only 2 incomes in a household, guess what? Y'all gonna be grinding together. Half the time, majority of the time, your children gonna be with somebody else, learning their behaviors, learning their system, learning them, and you're gonna look up and you're gonna be able to identify and recognize the children you birth. You're not gonna even know who they are. You're too busy in the work field because guess what? It just is what it is. It's the economy that we're in today, to where 2 incomes in a household is a challenge if they're not high earner, right? Everything's more expensive. It just is what it is. This is what we're facing. This is what we're looking at. So all of this 50-50. Sometimes you may be 90-10. Sometimes you might be 60-40. Sometimes you might be 0-0 because y'all both broke. Sometimes you might, you know what I'm saying? Y'all know where I'm going with this. It ain't gonna be no 50-50. It ain't gonna be no 50-50 all the time or 100% bills his. Sometimes a woman gonna be 100% bills. He gonna be 0%. Just trying to make it, get back to where he's supposed to be. It's just what it is. This is life. And once we pull ourselves out of this mindset of thinking that, okay, put it all on the man's shoulders, let the man do this, let the man do that. Listen, the society that we live in ain't the same. And if you want it to be that way, you got to enact and affect change in society that we're currently in, meaning who you vote for is very important. What you're doing, how you're carrying yourself, are you degrading yourself? Those things are very important. What level of consuming are you doing? Are you a great consumer? Are you out here just spending a bunch of money because you don't care? What are you doing? That affects a change, right? If you stop the spending, if you stop buying it because it's too expensive, guess what they're going to do? They're going to have to put it on sale. They got too much of it on the shelves now because they hike the price up too high. If you're going to pay whatever price that they put on it, the price tag, Gucci, Louis Vuitton, YSL, they put a $12,000 price tag on the bag, you see that as an opportunity, not as a burden, not as chains or shackles. You see it as an opportunity, the opportunity to show up the next woman, right? That's the way your mindset works. But if people stop buying YSL, people stop buying Gucci and Louis and all this other stuff because it's too expensive, they're going to drop their prices significantly. And it's mostly you Black people, you individuals who are melanated, who are going out and buying a lot of this junk. Other cultures understand how to spend where their net worth is. They know how to build their wealth. And they know that in those stores is not where they're going to build their wealth unless they have stock. If they don't have stock in it, they don't buy it usually. That's why you see a Steve Jobs with a pair of jeans and a black t-shirt. Right? That's why you see it. And you think that these celebrities are walking around with real jewelry. No, it's all fake. But it's definitely influencing you to want to go out and consume. If I'm going to get some diamonds, I need to go make sure they're real because, they got the diamond testers out here. So you go spend an extra what? Where you really could be buying gold, right? Even if you're going to wear the gold, go buy you a gold chain, gold, whatever. If you're going to wear the gold, wear it. But guess what? It's going to increase in its value. Not to mention the minerals, the properties of gold will actually help you, right? They got healing properties, gives you strength in gold, right? So my thing is that if you're going to buy anything, buy gold, buy silver. Those are investments that continue to increase in profit. YSL ain't going to increase in profit after they're done with the new season. They just dropped a new line of bags, and YSL now, whatever you got that's old, is old now. It's played out. STF happens, stuff hit the fan, shit hits the fan. Your YSL bag ain't going to buy you a trip to across the pond to get out of the States. Your YSL bag ain't going to even get you down the block. They're going to burn that. That's burning stuff, right? Keep the fire going. Throw that YSL bag in there. Throw that Gucci bag in there. That's what that's for, right? That's what that's going to be for. It's going to lose its value totally, completely. But the mindset of our people is that that's a status symbol. It's a goal. It's an opportunity to be better than the next person. It ain't a thought of, listen, man, that's poverty, because that's what's going to lead you to. You're going to make this individual richer, right? And to make yourself more impoverished. But it's our people who mainly do it. I can't say that it's any other culture of people who do it, right? Man, I'm trying to tell you. Y'all put it in the chat. Have you guys ever seen a Asian woman walking around with Gucci, Louis, YSL, and she's not well off? I'm gonna put that extra thing. She's not well off, right? Any other cultures? Our culture's the only cultures walking around with this stuff and ain't got $1 in our pocket, no investments, no life insurance policies, right? Have no clue what money is. Modern money mechanics have no idea what modern money mechanics is, what it's about. They don't even know what the national banking holiday was back in 1933. Have no education in any of these things, any of these matters, but they walking around with Gucci. They walking around with YSL. Still a slave wage job, still working for somebody else, still trying to put in work for somebody else, but you got a Louis though. You got a Gucci. You got YSL. You got all this other stuff. Not a clue on how to build a business though. Not a clue as to what business credit is versus personal credit. I'm trying to tell you, we got a ways to go. But what does the book say? The Most High says that what? My people are destroyed for their lack of what? Knowledge, because they rejected. When I'm delivering this to you, right? You know that I'm telling you the truth, but you're going to reject the knowledge, right? You're going to reject it, but you're going to suffer for it too. Because while STF happens, right? Shit does really truly hit the fan. You're going to clutch your bags. You're going to clutch your designer wear. You're going to clutch all of that stuff. Your diamonds, whatever it is. You know, diamonds are going to be intangible. You can be able to sell that. But you're going to clutch all this designer wear while others are actively doing things that make sense. They're going to have tangible assets. They're going to be laughing at you because you're broke now. Look at you. You lost everything. While all their assets and all their investments is in tangible things like gold, silver, all these other investments that they have. Bitcoin. We got catching up to do. And where do we start? But to provide a sting for that ass. You understand what I'm saying? Got to provide a sting for you. Got to put you over the knee. Get you to wake up and realize that, yo, you're not making the best choice. And don't allow your wife or your woman to influence you, right? You got to make a sound decision as a man. Stop allowing her to make the decisions, right? Because you want to please her or make her happy. You got to stay focused on what the mission and goal is. And once you've accomplished the mission and goal, then you can please her. Then she deserves all of this. Then she deserves the world. But until then, stay your silly ass focused on the goal, on your purpose, on your drive. The moment you lose focus on your purpose, your goals, and your drive as a man, your silly ass is going to be looking at her walking out the front door. And you've lost everything because you didn't stay focused. It happens more often than it does not happen, okay? They already complain about you not being a high earner. What makes you think they're going to stick around if you lost your purpose and you're focused on her 24/7, sniffing her rear end, and you're not out here grinding and building for your purpose, for your goals, to be able to keep her content and happy and the rest of your family, right? Yeah, of course, you're going to see her walking out that front door, right? Rightfully so. I mean, listen, you bent the knee. Good luck. Let's continue, y'all. Let's continue. We're going to be wrapping this up here. We're going to move on to the next one real quick, and we're going to
your boys. You let your boys run and let the streets raise them, and now you're mad that it's coming home to roost. You did that.
So how do we fix this situation?
First of all, stay out of father's business.
Mm-hmm.
Let me give you an example. I have 2 daughters. I know nothing about menstruation. I watch my children come into the world, but I don't know what it is to have the pain of childbirth. I stay in my lane. Protect, provide, back up my wife. If I had sons, my wife would fall back because it is my job, like it was my father's job and his father's job before him, to raise his son into a man. We have taught our children, we have taught society, and we put a battery in our women's back by telling them that masculinity is toxic, that submission is wrong. I got to submit to God. I got to submit to the IRS. You submit to your white ass boss every single day. Yeah. But yet and still you won't submit to your husband.
That's a great point, Brother Angelo. Listen, yes, a lot of you are lost and don't have any faith, anything that you truly believe in firmly, right? A lot of you are lukewarm. A lot of you say you believe in Yeshua, believe in Jesus, things like that, right? A lot of you have taken that position, but you have not spent any time in that word. You haven't spent any time trying to learn who he truly is, what he's truly all about. When I'm talking finances, when I'm talking about flourishing and thriving, you have not sought out the scriptures that will teach you even more about how it's okay to be prosperous in this world. It's okay for you to prosper. It's okay for you to get out of your current financial state and reach a higher tax bracket. There's nothing wrong with that. They'll consider you to be a rich man, right? The same rich man that Yeshua speaks about, the one that it is more difficult for him to enter into the kingdom than it is for a camel to enter into an eye of a needle. That rich man is a man who's bound himself to the things of this earth, who's bound himself to the material things of this earth, who's bound himself to the love of money on this earth, and he cannot shake that. He loves what those things bring him, the status, right? The level of influence, the level of joy and happiness that it brings him. He loves the material things on this earth, so he could never transition into a heavenly Father kingdom. He can never walk through those. You know why? He's too busy focused on the things on this earth. And that's not gonna change for him unless he's willing to change it through the Most High Yah, unless he's willing to change it through Yeshua, through Jesus the Messiah. But that's going to be difficult because, as he said, he told the rich man to sell all and give it to the poor. And with that, what did he do? He didn't do what Yeshua told him to do, what Jesus told him to do. He didn't do it. It was a show test of faith. Let me see if you truly still bound to the things of this earth. You say you want to follow me, right? That means that you need to give up everything that binds you to this earth. And let's walk in the spirit together. He didn't want to walk in the spirit. He wanted to walk in the flesh, the things of the flesh. That's why when you give a lot of these young guys, right? The young guy, when you give them advice and you tell them what they should be doing and looking out for, because you have suffered the same problems, you passing that information down to them. You always got to back it and reinforce it with the Holy Spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh, the Spirit that's going to guide him. Because guess what? If he wants to walk by the Spirit, he will listen to everything that you got to say. But if he's going to walk by the flesh, everything you have to say is going to go right out the window. You got to teach him spirit versus flesh. You got to teach him how to walk in the spirit. You can't teach him. You can't be of the flesh, doing things by the flesh and giving him advice and all that stuff. You're the example, right? Well, you got to walk by the Spirit as the example, right? So he can see you spiritually moving. He'll know how to walk by the Spirit. You teach him how to walk by the Spirit. And then guess what? He's going to do everything you tell him to do. And he's going to keep himself clean. But if you show him how to walk by the flesh, it don't matter how much wisdom you part ways with. He's going to continue to move after the flesh. You're his example. Be an example, right? I'm talking to me while I'm talking to you. So don't get it twisted. Let's go.
Husbands, but then you get on these podcasts, you get on these television shows, you watch these reality shows that are scripted, and you sit up there and you say, I want a man who's a provider. No. Your husband is supposed to be a provider. We out of whack. Iyanla Van Zandt told y'all was out of order, and nobody wanted to hear it.
So maybe I feel like with the submission thing, I feel like, because that's like a hot topic on the podcast world with submission, but we keep telling black women to submit to men that don't have their life together.
Who said that?
How can you submit? How can you submit to a man who doesn't submit to God? Everybody's not like you.
I understand that.
You are like in the rare percentage.
I get that.
You must know that there are a lot of black men who don't move like you, who are not successful, who don't want to go to school, who don't want to do anything with their life, who don't have any finances, who don't have any ambition, who have nothing to offer but some dick.
Okay.
So how can you keep telling? And let's talk about it, because let's talk about it. Black women are in record numbers going to college. We're opening.
And I think what she just brought out, that is probably the biggest problem, is that these men who have no dreams, no aspiration, no goals, who are not driven, who are not trying to accomplish anything, and all they really trying to effectively do is create more children, more more children. They just trying to drop off more seed, right? And whatever, whoever, whenever. And these pookies, these jacked up men, these jackleds, they are the issue. They are the true problem. You understand what I'm saying? But they also bring inspiration. And the reason why I say that is because they inspire men to be better, right? It's men like myself and a lot of you out there inspired to be better. A lot of you avoid a lot of different things because you inspired to be better by these men who aren't inspired, has no aspirations to do anything but make society a worse place, right? Same thing with the women, and inspires the women to have standards, reasonable standards. Is he a visionary or is he a dreamer? These dreamers who seem to have no forward motion, who are not going anywhere in life, Of course, those are individuals that you are inspired to stay away from. Now, the individuals who are visionaries, understanding the vision, having the map, the blueprint, all of that stuff to get to the vision, to get to the back, to get what they need to get to and accomplish what they need. Those are individuals that you support, you build up at all costs, because those are rare breeds. A lot of men who step and operate as visionaries need all the support they can get, battling the world. But these individuals who are dreamers, who are just running around here playing video games and dropping off children, that's what the system is designed for. It's designed for men like that who don't want to show up, who ain't been great fathers, who ain't been trying to be present. That's what the scripture means by individuals who are who do not want to take care of their seed. They're worse than a vagabond. Is men like that who have no care, right? Will impregnate a woman and move on and have no care. Those rolling stones, right? Things like that have no care, no desire to even be in the child's life. Those individual men are worse than a vagabond. They are infidels, worse than an infidel, right? Not the ones who are desperate to do it or love to do it. You understand what I'm saying? So my thing is that let's continue.
Degrees. We're getting accolades. We're running nonprofits. There's a large portion of black women who are educating themselves and taking their lives to the next level, while the black men are not reaching those goals. They're not meeting us on those levels.
Black women are the largest group of entrepreneurs.
That's actually pretty funny, brother Odell. Like, I guarantee you, he probably loves rap music, right? You know, he's wearing Louis Vuitton, looking like a walking billboard. Listen, yeah, he probably listens to a lot of rap music, which oddly, a lot of Caucasian young people support rap music. They love rap music. They love trap music. A lot of support a lot of these artists get are from Caucasian, our young Caucasian individuals, right? Men, boys, you know what I mean? Which is very interesting, right? It just is what it is. But they get a lot of support from the community, but in the community, it stops right there. It stops at the music for them. You understand what I'm saying? This is actual real life for a lot of us who are melanated, but it stops at the music for the ones who are fans, right? The Caucasian people who are fans. It doesn't influence their community. Like I said before, you have George Floyd. You have black communities, melanated communities, burnt to the ground, literally. Black-owned businesses burnt to the ground, literally. Then on the other hand, you got Charlie Kirk. You have visuals. You have wakes. You have gatherings in church, right, with candlelit visuals. You understand what I'm saying? Peaceful things. Peaceful, silent protests. You know what I mean? Things like that. Statues being built. Things like that, right? It's two totally different responses to very similar events, right? Where Charlie Kirk, that was way more brutal, in my opinion, because listen, he was shot on live TV in front of a lot of people from the world, honestly. So two different responses. Then you have creation of BLM, Black Lives Matter, who has effectively done nothing for the community, but they've made millions upon millions of dollars, right? Multi-millions of dollars, have done nothing effective for the community at all, have not done anything. They've done plenty for the LGBTQ and the alphabet soup community. They've done plenty for themselves and getting mansions and all this other stuff, but they don't fight for anybody in the community. They don't do anything that affects and enacts any real change, right? But yeah, so let's continue, y'all.
They also have more degrees. There are more black women in the C-suite. And to quote Dr. Umar Johnson, you don't find that suspicious? You don't find that suspicious?
It's very suspicious.
You don't find that suspicious?
Go ahead.
You don't find
Let
that
me finish.
suspicious? You don't find that suspicious? You don't find that suspicious?
Black women also have the majority and the highest rate of student loan debt, which means your debt to income ratio is shot. Problem number one. Problem number two is you spend all that time getting these things on you and not getting any learning in you. Having more degrees than a thermometer does not mean that you understand the temperature of our people.
Come on now.
On top of that, I don't need a degree to tell you I'm a man. Most of my degrees are sitting in the drawer, and the rest of them are at my mama's house in Arizona. I ain't seen them. It don't matter. Everything I learned in college was about happening outside of the classroom.
But you went to college, though.
Hold on.
You went to college, though.
I went to college to please my mother. I had a record deal. I was singing backgrounds for Teddy Pendergrass. Let's tell the whole story, not just the parts you like. And
but you still went to college.
Again, most of us, black men specifically, go to college out of pressure from their mamas and their grandmamas, not because it's something to do to better themselves. The school industrial complex is made for black women. There have been several studies on this that talk about how young black boys are automatically labeled as behavior problems. They were labeled as educable mentally retarded back when Les Brown was in school, and that's going all the way back to the 50s. Then you sit up there and you put them in the programs, then you double down on their reading scores so that you know how many prisons to build. Everything is set up to make sure you rise and think that you are now above us, as opposed to realizing that there's a conspiracy to separate you from me.
So how do we...
Come on now. And this is what I'm saying. Ladies, listen up. Let me tell you the truth about that young black boy, black child that you have right now, right? Let me tell you all the truth, right? In every community, really. I think that a lot of other communities believe this and identify this as being true already. But it just seems like my community, the melanated community, are suffering from understanding. That young black boy, or that young boy, period. I'm going to say boy because the young boy that you're raising that's growing up in your presence right now, you got to know. I'm going to say boy because I want it to apply to all communities, not just my community. Is adventurous. It's not somebody who's designed to sit in a classroom. Boys or men are designed to conquer. They're designed to learn with their hands, literally with physical learning. You understand what I'm saying? This is what has been instilled in us since the beginning of time. It is how we operate. What is the curse of Adam? Is the work by the sweat of your brow, right? But also, what was the task that was given to him when he first was formed from the dirt? It was to till the land. It was to take care of the cattle, all the creation on the earth. What was Eve's job was to what? Help meet the needs of Adam. So you got to understand, when a woman is help meeting the needs, the man is going out and doing what? He's going hunting. He's bringing back a kill. And then he's prepping it, right? He's dressing it, field dressing it, getting everything together, brings it into the house. And that's where his work stops. It should stop. And you as a woman pick up those two, and you make a meal out of what he just brought home, right? You got to understand there's a difference. A young woman who can sit in a classroom is honestly designed to be able to be there. She's designed to sit in a classroom and learn. A lot of them, majority of them are, and they're really good at it. That doesn't make you superior. It makes you an asset. It makes you a resource. It makes you somebody who can provide to the right man who you know, and you know that you can provide to those assets. Hey, I got a degree in this, that, and that. You get these degrees means that you're certified in something. But not even you still can claim that you're 100% efficient in what your degree holder is and whatever degrees you hold, right? I've had a thing as to it. Listen, how is it that an accountant would still need my guidance and my leadership, right? And she went to school and got her degree in being an accountant. You still need me to guide you and lead you on how to properly manage your money, right? Because you're a woman. It's still going to be a thing. You're still going to need guidance from a man. You're still going to need that leadership from a man, from the right man. I'm not saying any man. I'm saying the right man who's willing to provide it. I don't care how many degrees you have. You still need guidance. You still need leadership. You still need to provide those degrees to the right man who can build with that, right? Who can take your degrees and create a six-figure, multi-million-dollar corporation or company with all the degrees that you're able to acquire. You're still going to need a man to be able to make that happen for you. A lot of you can do it on your own, but a lot of you who can do it on your own, you don't have a man to help you with it. A lot of you are single still to this day, and you're a power earner who took all your degrees and created this six-figure business, multi-million-dollar business or corporation, but you got a cat at home. You got a cat at home that you got to feed, not a man. You popping cans of meow, right? Of cat chow. You're not preparing sirloin steaks for your man who's at home waiting for you. You're living a life of being lonely because you embarked on a masculine journey that had you take on this go-getter mentality, masculine mentality, in which most men do not settle for that. Most men are not attracted to that. Your success does not mean our success, but your success, and we're able to utilize that to create even more success as we are creators, innovators. That right there is the way to go, right? Unifying in that way is a beautiful thing to do. Strengthen the men, right, in the communities, because a lot of other cultures do it, Black woman, right? A lot of other cultures of women have degrees in strengthening the men in their communities, right? It's time for you to step that up and do it too, but for the right man. Be sure that you got the right individual, not somebody who has no plan for their life, no future, right? A visionary who is very go-getter mentality, who grinds, who takes care, who sacrifices and focus. Yeah, you know what to look for, right? If you don't know what to look for, you got to learn from somebody who's trusted what to look for. Let's continue, though. Let's continue, y'all.
Fix it is what I'm trying to get at.
I had to, first of all, you sat up there and gave me a 30-minute dissertation on how great Black women were doing, but the second
I support my Black women, that's all.
I support Black women.
I support Black men
Here's
too,
the thing. The majority of my clients, the majority of my executive staff, my man Ricardo Cordial, who's been a client of mine for 5 years, he will tell you the majority of the people in my executive team are Black women. I have put more Black women in the 1% than Nick Cannon with a bag of Viagra. So this is not about supporting Black women.
Okay.
There's a woman named Anissa Getna who had a nursing business and she had a credit business, and she went and bought her husband. By the time I was done with her, she went and bought her husband a car dealership, then moved to South Africa. She got an AT&T grant. So when it comes to supporting Black women, I don't talk about it, I be about it. So that's not the issue. The issue is we need to fix it by divorcing ourselves from their agenda, which is educate our women, make them feel so high up because they got the C-suite positions, they got the degrees, they got the jobs that they put them in, while they disqualify us, underqualify us, tell us we can't do anything, take all of the skilled labor out, and then when they don't take the skilled labor out, they sit there and then make it look like there's something wrong with that. Even look at the movies. There's been Tyler Perry movies where the dude is a mechanic. The least watched Tyler Perry movie is what? Daddy's Little Girls, because God forbid you see a responsible single father and a baby mama who decided that a drug dealer, a YN, is better than a dude that works hard every day, because that's not sexy enough to brag for your friends. Wow. You have to understand that this is a psychological op that is played on so many levels that nobody wants to talk about it. So the solution is we go independent, we reject our trash, we stop taking in every piece of bad bitch bullshit that we get. We start looking at the fact that we don't have one Black-owned record company, but we got all these Black record labels run by palm-colored people with little hats on the back of their heads telling us how we should operate, and then they sit down with Charlamagne and say, oh, well, I just got to eat. Leor Cohen, you've eaten, bro. You created a 360 deal. Y'all don't want to do payday loans, but what the hell you think a record deal is?
Talking about the
Man, he going in. Listen, and honestly, he ain't wrong. Y'all tell me where is he hitting on no notes? Let's sound like you. We're gonna move on to the next thing, but listen, he's hitting on every key note, every key point. He's definitely making those points very well known, and I believe he's articulating them very well for somebody who literally came from the background he's come from. I think there's a lot that we need to consider. Listen, we spent this time to be able to address some of the core issues within any community, right? But like I said, it's more public size when it comes to the melanated or black community. But we're addressing these things because we need to understand the level of importance it is to build up our men, to build up our women, to not degrade them or tear them down, not to show forth levels of disrespect to try to demean them, put them down, belittle the black men, right? Or the man in general, because it happens in a lot of communities, not just ours. But like I said, in the melanated or black community, it's heavily publicized. So I'm gonna address that, and plus it's my community. So, but what we're gonna do here is honestly, we're gonna get into some of these things here. My thing is this, right? With this particular topic, we can go on and on about the situation and the truth of the matter. And I believe that it would enact and affect some changes within our personal households, within our community sex groups, right? To where we can be able to flip a lot of this stuff that's going on in our communities, a lot of this stuff that's really a real problem for us right now, and will continue to cause more issues and more problems because what the scripture said, what about these children, that they will become twofold more the child of hell, right? Than their parents were. We need to be sure we're reversing that, and we ourselves aren't creating more issues, more problems. All right, we're gonna go ahead and dive into some of the hot news that we got out here, right? Hot news of the week. Some of the things that I've noticed out there. So let's go ahead and get into it. Up to you all, honestly, right? Let's get to this unity thing. And like I said, don't forget to share this live stream, like, comment, and subscribe. Holla back at your boy. We'll see you guys in the next stream. All right. Bless you. Peace and shalom, shalom.